Thanks for attending today. So our webinar is Getting Ready for MTD by Digitising Your Shoebox Clients. My name's Alex Jennings-Temple and I'm the Digital Specialist here at Iris, and I'll be taking you through the webinar today. So what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at planning, so how you can plan for Making Tax Digital, how we can help, so various solutions that we have available to you. We're going to go through the solutions, and rather than doing a full end-to-end demonstration, I'm going to show you after each section the solutions available, and then we'll do a call to action and what you need to do for next steps at the end of this webinar. So, planning for Making Tax Digital, and the way we're talking to our firms, some of you might have seen a webinar that I've done recently on how we can categorise clients, is really preparing your existing client base on who's going to stage for Making Tax Digital first and identifying those type of clients. So looking at your VAT registered clients who are going to be obviously going on to MTD next April. Looking at those who are already using a piece of software already that is going to be MTD compatible, so they're ready to go. Looking at those clients who are using, Excel or just paper records at the moment, and obviously they're going to be a priority because we need to make sure that they're all ready to go next year. And also looking at those jobs that you do the bookkeeping for, and what you currently use to manage that bookkeeping process, and is that ready for Making Tax Digital next year. So it's really just a case of making sure that you're fully prepared to go next year when this comes around, and it's really sort of putting these various clients into three separate groups. So the first group that we've got are clients who are willing, or they might already manage their own bookkeeping work themselves. So within that group you might have clients who are using a traditional legacy piece of software at the moment that they're going to continue to use. If they're using a cloud solution already, whether that be Cashflow or another solution, then these systems will be Making Tax Digital ready, so the reports will be available to upload directly to HMRC from these pieces of software. If they're on old legacy type desktop solutions that are out there, then they may need to upgrade their package to be able to submit these reports for MTD. So you just need to make sure that those clients are aware if they are on older versions that aren't MTD compatible, then they will be pretty much forced to upgrade those systems, where obviously the cloud systems will just turn a switch and they'll all be ready to go. If those clients are ready and can manage their own work, or they're not using anything at the moment, or they're just using workbooks or something else, then the solution that we would have is going to be Cashflow Basic, which we can be going through, which is basically Cashflow as a standalone bookkeeping solution that instead of using their traditional old method or Excel or whatever they're using at the moment, they would use Cashflow instead, and that will help them manage that, get prepared for MTD and all their VAT returns and everything like that. The next group we've got are those clients who, they might not be doing anything now at all, but they could be willing to do a bit of it. And it's either they may be willing to do a bit of it, or it might be a case of, you might want them to just take pictures of receipts and sales and purchase invoices. So our solution can digitise those and put them into a portal where you can extract the information and just upload them directly to a Cashflow account. So they're not necessarily doing any of the bookkeeping process themselves. However, they are just recording information rather than just those sort of typical clients. Normally they just give you, a shoebox, a plastic bag full of all of their receipts and everything that you have to process. If we can just get them to, instead of doing that, just take images of those, then we can just speed up and streamline that bookkeeping service for them. Or they might just want to have access to Cashflow just to do sales invoices, for instance. So instead of you having to record all their sales, they could just do that, or they could just go on and kill their receipts. So group two is really those clients who might be able to do or could do a little bit of the work themselves. Cashflow Select is the product we've got for that, and we'll be coming on to that in a minute. Group three are really those clients who you might approach and ask them if they could do a little bit themselves, and they're just point blank no. We don't want to get involved. We pay you for a bookkeeping service. We don't want to have to take pictures or do anything. We've always sent you our receipts. We don't want to change, and we're just going to pay you to do it. So, our top-end solution for this is our professional product. So basically, on top of the Select solution, which uses Iris Snap to digitise those receipts, basically if the client isn't going to do that, then you could do that internally. So when they do bring in the shoebox full of everything, you can just take pictures of everything or scan it in or email those sort of receipts and invoices through to the service. And basically, we will publish them directly to Cashflow. You can then give our team of bookkeepers a CSV or a PDF bank statement, and they'll actually go through and match all the ledger transactions to the statement, which will all be ready for reconciliation and VAT. So we do have a fully outsourced bookkeeping service, which you may want to use just because it's simple, it's cost effective. All the information will just come back in, and you can spend your time internally doing other things for your clients, more sort of value-added services. Or it might be a case of you want to use that service because you want your business to be scalable, and you want the ability to be able to take on more work, but you might not have or want to recruit more staff to be able to do that sort of transaction processing side of it. So we do have those three various levels, and all of these really do depend on how willing the clients are going to be to actually do some of their own bookkeeping. So how can we help then? Like I said, we've got Cashflow Basic, that's what we talked about there. So this is where clients would do all of their own bookkeeping work. We've then got Cashflow Select, which is for those who fall into Group 2, which is Iris Snap, where the client just takes a picture. We do all the data entry, but you will go in, review all of the entries, review the receipts, and then you will publish to Cashflow, ready to do all their MTD and VAT submissions. And then we've got the Cashflow Professional, where you will take the images on your client's behalf. We do the data entry, and we complete the bookkeeping service. So again, it really will depend on what your client's going to be doing. So if your clients fall into Group 1 then, and you've got those clients who are willing to manage their own bookkeeping, it really is identifying, can they do it? You might already, like I said, already have clients who do all of their bookkeeping, or they don't currently do it, but that they might have the skill set or are willing to give it a go. Well, cloud technology, it can be streamlined. It can streamline the process of how you actually work with these types of clients. So, you won't have the need to chase these clients for backups or spreadsheets like that typically you would have to do with those types of clients. You can get instant access to their bookkeeping data. So literally, we've got a dashboard called Cashflow Connect. You can just log into your clients' live bookkeeping data, and you don't have to chase them for information. Also, you get a real-time view of their bookkeeping information, and you can just provide help or advice as and when needed, and assist them with live data. So it can just sort of make that process a lot easier to help them. And get the information directly into your systems as well. And this is going to save you time. So when it comes to doing VAT returns and your Making Tax Digital reporting and your year-end process, because it's all online and you've got instant access to what your clients are doing, it just means you don't have to chase that so much. So, like I mentioned, your clients might already have a solution that's going to be sufficient for Making Tax Digital. If they're currently using paper records or an Excel, then obviously they won't be able to submit the information directly from an Excel spreadsheet itself. There are talks about some kind of bridging software between Excel and HMRC, but we haven't seen any information on that quite yet. You've always got the option to submit Making Tax Digital directly through Iris, PTB and KeyTime through Personal Tax. So you can just key the information in on a quarterly basis to do a manual submission in the system that will then go digitally through to HMRC. But, we have to make that available to you for some of those smaller clients. But the majority of accountants that we're talking to on a day-to-day basis don't necessarily want to have to do manual inputting on a quarterly basis for all of those clients. So they are looking to digitise their clients onto cloud bookkeeping solutions. So cash flow is a solution that we can, or you can give your clients to get them ready for MTD reporting. Like I said, the benefit to you is it's live and up to date. You can set their access levels as well. So one of the things around cloud bookkeeping, it's very accessible, it's very easy to use. However, clients, just like any other system, there's always the chance that they might make, errors within the software and make mistakes, and they'll need corrections and things like that. We can enable transaction locking in the software, so we can lock down functionality, we can take away reports, we can take away settings, so they won't be able to do a lot of the functionality in the system. We can do a full annual lockdown, so they can't go and back post into prior periods, they can't edit or delete back reconcile transactions or bank reconcile transactions. So with Cashflow Connect, we really do give you the ability to enable all of these types of features to make sure that when your clients do start doing their own bookkeeping, when you receive the data in, we can make sure it's as accurate as possible. The benefits to your clients is they can use bank fee technology, which means they can link cash flow up to their online bank and pull through their bank statements. So most of the small businesses, when we're talking to them and they want to start using cloud solutions, it's really to make their lives easier. They don't want to spend loads of time doing the bookkeeping because they spend their time running their business. That's what they want to do. So if we can use things like bank feeds, then we don't have to sit there and enter in bank statements. We can just pull the information through from our bank. They can use Cashflow to manage all of their sales and purchase invoices, which can help them appear more professional, and also assist them with credit control, so they can get a full view of exactly what's going on with all of their sales and purchases and everything like that. And Cashflow can provide them with the reports, again, the reports that you allow them to have, which they can use to track and report on their business performance. So, they can get a better understanding on how their business is performing, which I think is really key, especially to a successful business who's looking to grow, especially. They can manage all their VAT submissions. They'll be able to do all their, when MTD goes live, they'll be able to do all of their MTD submissions in Cashflow as well. And you could either let the clients be responsible for that, or you'll be able to lock it down so you can go on and do their MTD submissions for them. So that's really the group one. So if they're looking to do their own bookkeeping, then we have Cashflow as a solution. And just to give you an idea of what Cashflow looks like itself, when a client logs in as an end user, what they would basically do, they would log in directly from your website. So on our website here, we've actually got a client area portal. So when your client's using Cashflow, they would log into your website and they'd come down to our Cashflow login. Ours is just called Andrews and Brown Cloud Bookkeeping. So they would enter their password, if you enter your password correctly. So they would enter their password in here, and then they'd have a memorable word to enter, and then they would log in to their Cashflow account. So they can log into this from any device with an internet connection. Like I said, it's all in the cloud. It's fully web responsive, so if I'm using it on an iPad or an iPhone, it just restricts all the view and shrinks it all down so it fits on those relevant devices. And then on the left-hand side, we can see it's purely modular. So really, I'm not going to go through everything from a cloud bookkeeping perspective today in this particular demo, but just to give you an idea of what they could do. So, like I said, it runs full their sales ledger and their purchase ledger on the left-hand side. So the benefits of them, we can show them that if you were using this, you would have all your customers listed in here. You can see the value, so you can see how much business you've done with them, what their outstanding balance is and things like that. You can track credit control by just setting up payment terms next to your customers and suppliers, and that in turn will make sure when invoices come in, you'll be able to see if they're overdue and things like that, so you know what you need to chase, and all that sort of statistics and stuff will come through from there. Invoice generation is really simple within the system, so you can just create invoices on the go. When the invoices are uploaded into the system, they can be printed off. You can mark them as sent, or you can just email them directly from the software, and they just attach as a simple PDF. So when we're talking to businesses, we're saying, well, instead of typing out invoices in Word at night, which a lot of them do, get home from work, type out their invoices, post or email them out, you can just do that from your phone. and you can generate professional-looking invoices, and you can put all your logos and various information on there as well. We've also got pay online, so if your clients want to use card payment options, like ours is integrated with PayPal, so we can just click on the PayPal link on there, and that will just put them through to PayPal, and they can go and make a direct payment. And we integrate with WorldPay and Stripe and other providers on that as well. You can take payments directly through the software, just clicking on the card payment option, and we link with Go Cardless to do direct debits and things like that. So they can do exactly the same from the purchases side. They can see all of their purchase invoices and things like that within the system. If they go through to the bank module, under the bank feed section, they can just import, and all they would need to do is just select the date range of the transactions that they want to import, click Retrieve Transactions, that whizzes away to their online bank, and then they can just go and import. And we can see we have matching rule technology, so we can set up rules within the software to automatically assign to certain nominal codes or invoices when they pick up the relevant transaction coming in from the bank statement. We also have a manual match button, so we can just match that. Because it's money going out, it's bringing up all of my unpaid purchase invoices, or we can just go and choose just to create a new purchase, or we can just go and just post that directly against a nominal code, select your VAT rate, and hit create. So it's really, really easy to set up those types of rules within the software, and then they can just import now, import those transactions into the bank, and they can do a simplified reconciliation off the back of that as well. Once they've done all of that, like I said, I can't show you the Making Tax Digital reporting that's going to be available, but it will be in the reporting module under the tax module. At the moment, they would, however, be able to go and do their VAT returns. So we can go into VAT management, all of their submitted VAT returns will be there, and they can just quickly create a new VAT return by hitting create, and then they can submit that directly to the revenue from the software itself. So really, really simple. That's how a client would log in and literally manage their ledger transactions and their bank module and their VAT and everything like that. You would log in through Cashflow Connect, which is either available just going through to the Cashflow website and putting in a practice email and password in and logging in. Alternatively, if you're an IRIS or PTP customer, you can log into Cashflow Connect directly from the main Accountancy Suite dashboard just by clicking the link on the left-hand side of the page. And what that would do, that would get you through to your clients page, where you would then go and see all of your clients. You can see when they last logged in, when their license expires and things like that. We talked about transaction lock-in and making sure that if a client's using it, when I get the data through, I want it to be as accurate as possible. So under their account, we have an actions button where we can go and do transaction lock-in. So we can go and lock a period down, or maybe I've done their year end and want to lock it down. If I take away the client override button, it means if they try to delete, edit, or post anything prior to that date, it will just say you can't do this, contact your accountant. We can do the same from a VAT return as well. So when we submit a VAT return, we can't delete or edit anything that's been VAT reconciled. We can also take that one step further by doing bank transaction lock-in, so they wouldn't be able to actually go in to edit or delete a bank reconciled transaction. And underneath there, we can go and set their access to reports and settings. So if you come in here next to the client, we can just go and untick all the reports we don't want the client to see. But when we log in through Cashflow Connect, because you're their accountant, you can see all of those reports, but the clients can't. So Cashflow Connect really is the key area where you can control your client's information, what they can see and do within the system itself. So that's sort of the group one. So if the client was using the system, that is Cashflow. Then we move on to our group 2 clients. So we have a lot of the firms we talk to do struggle with their internal bookkeeping jobs because, a large number of clients providing information late. They have incomplete records that need to be chased, which can delay all of their bookkeeping work. This delay can then move on to affect their VAT returns, which again goes into getting all of their final accounts completed as well. With MTD coming, obviously that's going to be really important as well, because we need to make sure we've got all of that information, not only for VAT, but also our Making Tax Digital reports as well. There's an issue that's caused with time, so with manual record keeping, your invoices, purchase invoices, receipts, they're all keyed in, and then the bank statements are typed in manually, matched together and analysed out. with MTD, this might be causing scalability issues. So could you cope doing this? Not only for your existing client base that you're thinking about at the moment, how we're going to cope with this, but also when we attract new clients and we get new clients on board, because we are anticipating that a lot more SME businesses out there with Making Tax Digital will be seeking the help of accountants more. Can you take on that workload for clients? But if we could just get some of those clients, or all of them ideally, to do a bit of the record keeping themselves, then we could make the business a lot more scalable and also make those bookkeeping jobs more profitable as well. So when we're looking at the clients who are willing to do some of it themselves, it's really just looking to identify the clients. You might know them already, ones that might be able to do a little bit. And ideally, that would come in Iris Snap. So Iris Snap will basically just be an app on their phone where they can just take a picture of, like I said, a sales invoice, a purchase invoice, a receipt, and then our team will just analyse that information out, digitise it, and put it into a format that can be submitted directly into Cashflow. We also have multi-user, so if you had clients who wanted to use Cashflow and you said, look, do you want to just use this as an invoicing tool, then you can set them up in multi-user just directly as just to have access to sales, for instance, to make that really simple. They could just have a Cashflow Go app, which is an app they can install on their phone where they can just create sales invoices and quotes and email them out on the go. And they will just publish straight into the Cashflow account. So again, just helping out. You don't have to key on sales invoices, just to speed up that process as well. So we can do things like CSV importing as well. So we can import their bank statements into Cashflow using a CSV template. So rather than your clients sending you paper copy bank statements, you would just ask them to send you through a CSV statement. And then you would import that in. And the good thing of that is it uses the same auto-assign and matching rule technology as your online bank feeds. So it really does speed up that process of analysing out the bank statements as well. So basically, Group 2 is if we can just get the client to do a little bit, then when we go and do the bookkeeping, we can just make that job a bit more efficient. Now, these licenses come with Snap, so just some images of what Iris Snap looks like here. We can see on the left-hand side, when they log in on their phone, they will see your practice logo at the top, and then they've got a few options here, but the main one they'd be using is upload. And when they hit upload, it will just come through, and basically it's just a camera. So all they do is they just take pictures of their, like I said, their receipts, invoices, etc., and they take all the images. And then on the right-hand side, once they've taken the images, they will have the option to just upload, and they just press process, and they will upload to the Snap service. From a client's point of view, that is all they have to do. So all we're asking is, instead of sending us paperwork, can you just take pictures of it, or email it, or scan it, whatever they want to do, into the service, and that's all they need to do. On the app itself, you've got a report section. So even though the client wouldn't have access to Cashflow or any of the bookkeeping software, they would be able to go and see the report to show the breakdown where all of their receipts and everything have been posted to. So once they've been processed, they can go and see the original copy receipt, and they can see the VAT and where it's been broken into. I can see how everything's been broken down. So I can see fuel and oil got £85. Or £6.5 gone to repair and servicing, so they can actually see where all their income and expenditure has gone to. And they can see that on the app without actually being able to control or change or do anything. It's just like a visible form that they can go in and see. What you would have, once the client has taken the image, like I said, that's all they need to do, and our bookkeeping team will digitise them. So you would go in to the Iris Snap service. So you would log into here, you would have an email address and password for the practice, and you would log in. All of your clients would then be listed directly in here. So if I click into Always IT, which is the account we were looking at, those two images that I took this morning are currently in here. So you'd be wherever you are, it's in the cloud, so you can access to this wherever. You can go in, and I can actually go and see the pictures as soon as they've been taken. And I can see the date it was uploaded, I can see who uploaded them, and the period that those transactions are falling into. None of this information has actually been completed yet, so I know that it's work in progress. It's currently not been worked on, which is why it's sat at the top here. Once the bookkeeping team have digitised those images, they will fall into the dashboard below. So in here, I can see that 21 transactions or images have actually been taken. I can see that I've got nothing ready to be published to their cash flow account yet, but I can see 18 have already been published. So I can actually go view and review. So if I never need to see something again and see the original copy image, I can just come in here and click on the image, and that will actually show me what that image was. And then I can see what happened with that. So it's gone to fuel and oil. I can see it's a receipt. I can see who the supplier is. So I can see all of the information on the receipts. So it saves all the historical data. I've got two images that are ready to go. So if I click on information required, these are two images that my client uploaded 2 days ago. I can see that past this point, so past the user who did it, we have now gone in and created a new supplier. So a new supplier has been created in there. I can see the invoice date has been put in. The VAT information has been put in as well. And I can see the nominal code that it's been posted to. I can see that the document type was a receipt, and that was a purchase invoice. But I can see there's some things in red. So, like I said, this isn't just something that's going to go directly from a phone into the bookkeeping software. This is something that's going to give you the tools to review it before it actually gets processed. So I can come in here and I can edit, and I can see whether do I want to basically create a supplier on that one, or do I just want to post it directly to the bank, directly to a nominal code, so I can choose that if I want to. I can then double check and I can see the nominal code that it's gone to, and then we could select the bank account that it's gone out of and how it was paid. So I can say that was paid on card, and then we can just update that, and that will now move that image directly out of the information required to ready to publish. So that one is ready to go. And then we can just continue to do that for our transactions. So I can see that one there, Fair Fusion. I can see that's gone for repairs and servicing. And again, we can just select the bank and the mode of payment and update that. And that will go and create that within the system as well. So we can see they're now ready to publish. So we would go to ready to publish. Those two are ready to go. I've double checked them. So I just highlight them and then publish them directly to the client's cash flow account. So I'm not typing out transactions. I can see the original receipts and just review what our bookkeeping team have done. And what we'll see now, when we go back into Cashflow Connect and we just log into the client's cash flow account and go through to their suppliers, we can now see that Air Fusion supplier has been created. If I go to their purchases, I can see that purchase invoice has been created as well. And then if we scroll down, I can see the bank information, so that payment has gone out of the bank as well. So that's all done, and then I can import the bank statement and allocate those together. So really, really simple from just getting the clients to do a little bit themselves just by using that Snap service. It means we don't have to sit there with all their receipts and everything and type them in because we've got a team of bookkeepers actually doing that work for you. And then we go to Group 3. So Group 3 are those clients who don't want to do that. They don't want to have to take the pictures because they are just so used to just sending their information directly into you and you dealing with it. So, you know, we've got the same sort of problems with these clients. You know, they don't want you to do all of that work. So if your clients do fall into this group where you want to do it all, you can still use the Snap service. So what I've just showed you and everything like that, you can actually go and do that. The difference is we have Iris Snap Professional. So this is a professional package where you won't have to go into that dashboard and review it. So our bookkeeping team would go in and make sure all of those details are correct. If there's any queries, any transactions, you will actually get a report through saying we need these transactions explained before we can post them. And then you go back to the client and they'll have to explain them before we can go and do the work. But what you would do, instead of uploading bank statements yourself and allocating them together, within the Snap portal, so if we go to the top of the Snap portal here, as part of the professional service, you can actually go and upload files. So you would click Upload Files, and then you would go and attach the PDF or CSV bank statement into here, and that's where our team would actually go and do the full bank analysis, all of the matching, and do the bank reconciliation as well. Okay, so the professional version itself would actually be able to do everything for you. It's got to take me back into my page 1 of my presentation. So let's skip. Okay, so Snap Professional, that's what it is. It's us doing the bookkeeping for you. It's a full service. We also have products that could assist you if you maybe have those Group 2 clients. We have Rapid Fire, so we have a desktop batch entry tool for sales and purchase invoices to help you get that information onto the software as well. And obviously the CSV importing is going to be key for those internal jobs to save you having to type out that information. So as you can see, just by those various different services and solutions that we have, by identifying your clients now and classifying them into the right group, you can identify which service we offer is best going to suit that individual client, and then you can get an idea of exactly how we can help you moving forward. So if we come out of there, so that the solution there, so just what I'm going to show you is the statement upload, because we talked about the client themselves using bank feeds, and if you were doing the bookkeeping internally, you might not have a live bank feed set up for the client. What you might have, though, is a CSV bank statement that you can get from a client. And if you've got a bank statement from a client, what you can do, you can go into the account, and instead of doing a bank feed import, you can just select the CSV that you want to upload. So you would just select the file to upload, select the bank statement the client sent you, and click Upload. And rather than having to get online banking information, I can just upload a CSV statement. And as we can see, we've got the same auto-assign rule technology, we've got the same creator matching rule technology, the same streamlined bank reconciliation technology as well. But all we need to do, instead of entering those paper, typing out line by line, we can just import the bank statements. So it's going to save a lot of time for those internal jobs. And the whole point is once that's all done and their ledger transactions in and their bank information's in, that in the background will produce all of their MTD information and reports that can be uploaded, and also their VAT information. And then adding on to that, when we talk about end-to-end process, that information can then feed back in to Iris. So if you're on here today and you're already an Iris customer, or you're using PTP, if you're using accounts production, we have integration with accounts production. So when we go to do a new posting, we would choose our posting dates in here, and then we'll whiz away. We've got a document type within accounts production for cash flow. We can then activate the import from cash flow, click OK. We've then got the option whether or not we're going to bring in an annual TB or just management period movements, because we've got a lot of firms that do management accounts within Iris, so you can just pull through a month or a quarter's worth of information from cash flow. But I'm going to do an annual TB. We can choose whether or not we're going to import with or without opening balances from there as well. And then on here, I can then go and see the cash flow nominal code and the Iris nominal code it's been posted to. And if anything's incorrect at this point, we can amend it. I've got director salaries in there, so I can select the director. And then we just click import. That whizzes away, and that will just import a trial balance directly from their cash flow account into Iris. So we can streamline that bookkeeping process at the end of the year. So especially if you've got people internally who do bookkeeping, and then you have someone else in the firm who actually does the final set of accounts, rather than having to chase or look at a spreadsheet or chase a backup from another piece of software, you can just double-click from either this screen, the posting screen, or from the interactive reports, and that will actually drill you down directly into the nominal ledger within their cash flow account. And then we could reallocate transactions if we wanted to. So we could just reassign, move transactions around. It updates Iris. We could post a journal. We can do whatever we need with that. So again, it's just making that end-of-year process a lot quicker. Okay, so we have all of those benefits from all of the solutions you've seen today, all include that Iris integration. So when we look at Making Tax Digital and sort of how we can maybe move our business forward so we can, make some of those jobs a lot more profitable, is really how we can get the clients to do a little bit themselves. So the more we can digitise these shoebox clients, the more opportunity it's going to give you to provide more services back to those clients. So if we look at this, and we've got keeping records, so the SME is just keeping records of the accounts. If we can get them to do some of the bookkeeping themselves, or moving forward, if we're going to save that time and get Iris to help with the compliance and the bookkeeping side, it's basically going to free up your time to offer more value-added and consultancy services back to that client base. And included in our packages is Iris Insight. Some of you might have seen this before, but it basically syncs directly with cash flow, so it's all in the cloud. You do have the ability to import, export to Excel, but it's really the integration with cash flow that's going to be the thing that saves you time. You can use it for business planning, cash flow, P&L, balance sheet, forecasting and analysis. We have a what-if tool, so you can just come into here and maybe put in various factors that might change the way the business can perform, or things that might happen within the business. I want to buy a new van, can I afford to hire a new member of staff, and things like that. You can put all those scenarios into the system. And then we have things like performance dashboards and management reporting. So what it is, it's really taking the bookkeeping information that's already there, and then if we log in, you'd have a portal with all of your accounts using it, and we have integration with OpenSpace and cash flow itself. We'll log into the account, and then this will take us through to their dashboard, where you can see their forecasted tax payments. You can see what their weekly and monthly cash flow is looking like, and then we can go across to performance, and we can see their sort of sales analysis, working capital and everything like that. We have actuals, so we can just go and sync their actuals from their P&L and balance sheet. We can build forecasts off the back of that as well. Like I said, we've got the what-if tool, so we can quickly just overlay conditions. So I've got one in here, so my rent's going to go up by 50%, and I want to take 25% more director salaries. How's that going to affect my business? And you can see here, it's going to show you a graphical representation, but also underneath, it's going to show you the actual monetary value of how that's going to affect your business moving forward. Okay, and you can just overlay all of those various conditions. We have management reporting, so we can go and generate a monthly management report. Just by selecting the month and selecting, do we want to do forecast or prior year comparisons, we can choose which sections we want to include in these reports and add in all of your practice logos and everything like that. And we can actually go and review what those various graphs and information look like. And underneath, you can actually add in feedback for the client as well, which will go straight back onto the report. So all I've done the bookkeeping, or with the professional service, we've done the bookkeeping. You sync the bookkeeping data, just build a quick forecast off the back of that, and that will allow you to build these professional-looking reports that could be sent out directly to a client with just a little bit of work involved. And it pulls all the information from the back end of Iris Insight. So if you generate these reports, again, professional looking, your logo would be on there. And again, we have contents page. We have their KPIs, how they performed in February against the forecast we set them. Their profit summary. And all of this information, like I said, it's just come through from syncing bookkeeping information. So it's a really powerful tool, which means you can add more services back to your existing client base. So we do talk to a lot of firms who are a bit concerned around the MTD, thinking, well, this is going to be more work for us. It's going to take more time to do the work. How are we going to make profit out of taking on more clients or working with our existing base? Well, I can see now using something like Iris Snap to digitise those records, and then using that bookkeeping data to provide more services back using Iris Insight, we can start making sure that we're still making a lot of profit on those jobs as well. Cash flow for accountants is pretty much everything we've talked about for today. So these are the solutions that are available. We have Rapid Fire, we have Iris Snap, we have Cash Flow Go. All of that information can just feed back directly into Cash Flow, which is the source of information for the bookkeeping. You can control it in Cash Flow Connect to make sure the data is accurate. You can pull that information back out to Iris Insight to provide more services for your clients, and all of that information comes directly back into the Iris Accountancy Suite for your final set of accounts and all the other work that you need to do. So what's next? If you've got any questions from a product perspective of everything you've seen today, please do just email me. My email address is quite long. I'll leave it out there for a second. My email address is alex.jennings-temple@iris.co.uk. Please feel free to give me a call. If not, just contact your IRIS, PTP, or digital account manager, and they can assist you with anything. Follow-up conversation, so fill out the form for follow-up. So there will be a form at the end. If you're interested in prices or anything like that, then the digital team will be able to get some pricing information available to you. So once I close this down, there will be a form. Just fill it out, and someone will be able to give you a call off the back of that. I hope you found that webinar interesting today, and we look forward to speaking to you about these services moving forward. Thank you very much for your time.